go to the elections, so we'll see that you can't. That we're not able to predict we're not able to predict the elections or who's going to win them. Next, go to the Heidegger flow. We'll see that the alternative isn't able to solve for global warming in the first place, or the epistemology claims of the affirmative, even if they win the perm, that'll try against any of the offense. Next, go to the rhetoric K. First, an overview. First, the link. Their use of words like ecological collapse and environmental destruction cause depoliticization of our people. That's the wild card. Also, that causes the people to allow government to usurp on individual rights, which can cause future genocides and atrocities, which is what Davidson goes on to say. Also, the alternative is key to stopping this. He says we need a clear space when approaching environmental problems. After the alternative, we save nature because we appreciate it for what it is, not because not because we are coerced into doing so. Also, the way that we talk about warming in this round creates more politically active people when we are compelled to go out after the tournament individually cut down on our own pollution because of the education that we gain in the round. And next is that the K turns the case. People are depoliticized. They are not going to build solar panels on buildings because they figure out what is the point when warming is so massive. And next is that case is only a band-aid solution. Even if they solve the way they approach environmental problems, causes future policy failures. The same rhetoric will be used, and people will only be further depoliticized. And next, that will win ontology that depoliticizing people and killing agency is a worse form of ontology. The better the alternative is basically creating the best ethics in the round because it solves global warming without destroying individual human rights. And now go on to the framework flow. First, counter-interpretation, the affirmative should have to defend any argument that links the plan action and methodology or the representations. And next is framing is key. The way we speak about the environmental the way we speak about the environment determines policy outcomes as dreamers. In 2000, the stories we tell to justify our relationship with nature and determines that policy that we adopt discourse limit our ability to respond and fully perceive the problem of nature protection, the ecological horror story, and encourages us to view nature solely as by no resource consumption, to ignore the laws of nature and catastrophic ecological collapse. And it's key to advocacy and that's key to policy and education. Plan focus encourages vacuous discussion and evacuates the political form of holistic solutions. And B, it's predictable. The 1AC chooses their method and representations, proves the affirmative side bias, and framing comes first. If we want to dissent to the framing, they lose automatically. First is that the K questions are epistemological bias for harms and solvency. Our reps shape the response to warming. That's Dream Us in 2000. The rhetoric we use to justify becomes the problem. Ingrained and invisible. The rhetoric to affect the constraining the perception of problem. The words we use describe the condition of our response. The way words are put together form story shapes society. And the cause is not the and next the cause is not the symptoms need to be addressed first. So this reps guarantees future disengagement. As Eternal 2006 security is done by the states casting and issue to security concerns the onus action of governments creating a docile citizen. Governments have limited incentives on the environmental issues. The short-term focus on the government, at least in the long-term nature, and the environmental threats means any policy should be viewed with a skepticism that may be breeding action. The solution is not piecemeal. Legislation fostering ecological citizenship. The legislating does not reach the depth and to produce a long-lasting change. Solutions are likely when citizens change their ways and a realization unlikely when prompted by the top-down, oriented focus. And then go on to the flow proper. First, the link level debate takes across my analysis from the overview about the world card at the top. He says the way they frame their environment. First, specifically their second card. Specifically, their second card uses the term ecological collapse. That this is exactly what he's talking about. That when we talk about it in this way, it depoliticizes the people because we think we're not able to do anything because it's such a bad thing happening. And then the fourth card specifically says that it says environmental destruction. That is exactly what we're talking about. His phrases like this, the phrase like this that causes it, especially and even if we don't win win the framing, we'll win the justification for why they're doing the plan is causing this. Their rationale for doing the plan is that we need to stop the oncoming environmental collapse. That this is exactly what we're criticizing by framing it as this collapse that needs to be stopped, and it needs to be stopped. Anyway, we need a solution to stop it right now. This is what causes the bad outcomes of the impacts in the first place. I'll get to that on the impact debate. But next go on to the perm stuff. First, they don't get perms. If we win framing to the debate, it's just a yes/no question about whether their reps are good. And second, they can't sever. It causes argumentary irresponsibility and kills negative link ground. Their language is performance that is intrinsic to the 1AC, and that's a voting issue. Also, they can't change the reps from the 1AC. They still use state action as an overarching way to solve that. Trend 2006 with the understanding of security as performative rather than descriptive of the debate. It takes on a new character. The security label is an apolitical choice when they issue securitize, and the act itself leaves certain ways of addressing the response. Should be questioned. Environmental security is dependent on whether the way security organizes the social relation, whether it can be seen as beneficial to effective environmental policy. And the perm failed sequence is key to prevent co-optation. The perm guarantees future environmental destruction. That's WB99. Environmental securitization by vital politics can be rethought and complaining of academic agenda causing confusion. Policymakers with specific political interest can also co-opt arguments. The military can go green when it best suits institutional purpose. The universal political claims and nasty habit is turning out to be the Rogel concern dressed up in the universalist garbage justified in narrow political interest and in the policy literature thinking lean environmental issues and security and danger of overlooking assumptions and Anglo-American security thinking full ideas that security are added to new concerns about the environmental and policy results may not be anything like what the original advocates had in mind. The point of departure takes in seriously the desire to fundamentally rethink the whole concept of security as a strategy to reorient our political thing unless security is understood as substantially different words. Environmental security may just maintain the status quo and kick the alternative force if they win the perm. You can just vote that the K turns case specifically. But go back to the link debate specifically. First, even if those two cards don't matter on the perm, that but the fact is they'll act as separate links to the case. The fact is that because they use the government and because they use the government, that's what Trennell says, and then Dalby says this masking argument that things like using the government allows the military to do things like justify going green as like justify foreign wars in the name of going green and things like that, especially for example the United States government on the border of Alaska telling natives and no, we can take your land because you need to act more green specifically in that instance, or in place in the or yeah. So yeah, again, those will act as separate links itself. On the flow, they make this metaphor argument, but that's what we're saying is that these metaphors is what causes depolitization in the first place. If we have the scientists, if we have the government out here and the scientists saying causing this, relating this massive destruction or collapse to such a large problem that causes individuals to be politicized in the first place, because they're not going to believe they can act against it. I already answered the perm stuff. The ethical center of the action stuff is irrelevant, and then that was the only other argument on the flow. The only other thing is that I have to win here is that the K will turn case, and the K will turn a case, and that'll turn back all their political agency arguments, because when individuals see this type of action, they then see their political agency to the government, because they think, all right, there's no way that I can solve for things like massive global emitters, so I'll just let the government take its course and be able to solve for this. But the fact is that this kills individual political agency, which will turn back any other agency arguments in the round.